Welcome everyone. This is another video in this lecture series on strategic marketing. This is lesson number 2, part 1. We will be talking and discussing about the strategic use of marketing mix. And in this particular video, we will be focusing on product as the element of the expanded marketing mix. Now, if you haven't watched the video in this lecture series and you want to learn exactly the totality of this particular series of lecture on strategic marketing management, I'm suggesting that you will visit our channel Infinite Wisdom and then just look at the playlist, and there is strategic marketing management playlist. Choose that playlist and it will give you all the videos in this particular subject, strategic marketing. Now let's go back to our lesson. Now, marketing mix have seen a tremendous change in the previous decades. The basic elements of marketing only comprises 4, and that is product, promotion, price, and place. And now it has expanded into 7. And of course, in the modern realm, in the modern time, there is already 9 P's of marketing. But we'll just stick to this 7 elements of the marketing mix. Now we have people, process, and physical evidence. Now, if we are talking about product, it could relate probably on these particular sub-items: quality, image, branding, features, variants, mix, support, customer service, use, occasion, availability, and warranties. Now, this is the marketing mix. I know that you have probably been educated and you know what the marketing mix is, and probably you know already what's the purpose of the marketing mix. That is to channel the product from the very conception of the product until the satisfaction and after sales support of the company or the organization to their customers. And this is the purpose of the marketing mix. It is a wholesome package of which the organization will be able to educate, promote, sell, and make a profit out of satisfied customers. Marketing mix was actually devised by Philip Kotler, who is an icon in the field of marketing. Now, what is product? Now, product is a term used to refer to both physical goods, the tangible, and services, the intangibles. Now, the term goods and services are the correct term when referring to tangible and intangible products. So, in effect, the use of the term products and services technically by marketing standard is a wrong term. Why? Because when we speak of product, it already includes services and ideas. So meaning, product is both physical and non-physical goods or non-physical products, which is called services. Now, services could probably be experience or at some point expressed, because services are intangibles, things that are experienced by the customers, or ideas which are actually provided for the purpose of probably anything else in exchange of a particular value. So product is anything that is exchanged in a particular market setting. So that is a product. It is virtually and practically anything that is exchanged of a particular value in a market setting. Now, what are the 3 basic elements of a product? Number 1, we have product attributes. Now, product attributes are associated with a core product, include such elements as its features, styling, quality, brand name, packaging, size, and color variants, meaning it is the composition of the product itself. Next is the product benefit. whether or not the product can satisfy the customers or consumers' needs. It is the product benefit. Next is the marketing support, which includes delivery, installations, and other augmentations. So these are the three basic elements of a product. Now, according to Philip Kotler, there are 5 levels of product. Now, what are the 5 levels of product? These are potential product. Potential products are something that is yet to be provided. Depends on some kind of a package that a customer may purchase, or anything that may convince the customer to be loyal and be back in the near future. Next is augmented product. Now, augmented product are product variations or extra features that might help differentiate the product from its competitors. So anything that makes your product different from that of the competitors are augmentations. Now, examples of augmentations are warranties and guarantees. It doesn't mean that when you purchase the product, there is always warranty or a guarantee attached to that particular product, but it is a differentiator against your competitor if you are adding some kind of a warranty or guarantee out of a particular product being sold in the market. Next is the expected product. Now, the expected product is the promise with which the product was purchased in the first place. Now, if you want to purchase a phone, of course, that particular phone have to perform as promised by the manufacturer. It should be within the expectation of the customers itself, as promised by those at the corporation or organization that is manufacturing that particular product. Next is the generic product. This is simply what the product you receive. This is the actual product. If you purchase a phone, then that phone that you receive, the actual unit, is the generic product. Now, the core product is the reason or the sole purpose of which the product is made. Now, what's the purpose of car? The purpose of a car is to transport a person or anything from one point to the other. The purpose of a cell phone is for you to communicate. The purpose of a bottled water is for you to quench your thirst. That is the sole purpose of the product, the core product. Next is we have Drucker's 6 way of product classification. Now, before you will try to determine whether or not your company needs to venture into new kinds of products or provide the customers, the market, with new products or new inventions, new innovations of a particular product that is already in the market, first things first is you have to determine and audit first your product portfolio. And then you want to classify each of those products into these 6 product specifications according to Peter Drucker. Now, number 1, we have tomorrow's breadwinner, meaning these products are potential products, which could literally become the next breadwinner of the company in the next few months, years, or probably in the next decade. That could be a very long projection, but at least it would fall to the category of tomorrow's breadwinner. Today's breadwinners, what products or what class or family of products are bringing money and revenue to the company? And you have to take into consideration these particular products because this is the movers, the prime movers of the company on the present status. This will be the source of financial matters which would be very difficult at some point to attain. And so you have to determine what are your breadwinners. Next is products that are capable of making contribution assuming that drastic actions are taken, or what I call as a potential breadwinners. There are products that would at some point contribute to the liquidity of the company or the organization, provided that there are actions that are to be taken. Meaning these are products that are probably shaky in a market. There are market followings, but it's way far from what is intended to be. And so that's the reason why these particular products have to be taken care of, because this could be a potential breadwinner of the company. Next is the yesterday's breadwinners. These are products that have given their service already into the company, and probably at some point you might decide that, all right, that is, the fight is finally over and you can, just dispose the product if there is no following or no customers anymore that is using those particular products, or probably it has reached on a point of decline in death. That's like, let's say, for example, the VHS or probably the CDs and the DVDs, which is already at the dying stage. Also ran or losers. These are products that has at some point been a disaster for the company because they are losing instead of gaining for the company. And then products that are failures, which of course by the color itself represent is a failure. It has not produced anything as desired for the company. Now, upon knowing those particular classifications, being a marketer, you need to make particular decisions. Now, knowing those particular classifications and by categorizing your products, your product portfolio into those particular classifications, you now have to decide on particular things with regards to those products. Number one, should we continue to market the product? Should we or should we not? And that is the question. And so that's the reason why you have to determine first the classification so that you can decide whether or not you have to continue or call it quits. Just let it go, let it pass, and we'll just develop new products. Or if so, should a strategy and the level of resource allocation be changed in a minor way? Like, let's say, for example, you have a potential breadwinner, and so you have to change the strategy, and you have to spend more resources, allocate more resources in order to maneuver that particular product into becoming a breadwinner. And so you have to take into consideration changing the strategy when there is a potential of making a particular product line or product family into a particular direction that would be beneficial to the company itself. Should there be a major rethink of the product strategy, such as relaunch, repositioning, or a major makeover? Like, let's say, for example, you have to innovate what the product is. You have to innovate the current product with respect to the trends in the market. Or you have to reposition the product in the sense that it would be at some point probably targeted to the masses, to the lower spectrum of the social stratification. Or you will remain as is and yet you're losing money. Or you have to relaunch the product in order to rekindle the desire of the customers in order that they will repurchase or purchase again the product that they once loved. And so you have to make that decision because, by the way, these three questions would mean billions or millions of dollars in one decision. And so this is a very important decision that you have to take into consideration because it could mean the end of the company itself, or it could be the beginning of prosperity for the company. It might be very simple questions, but the implications are so huge, wherein at some point, when you fail in these particular decisions, it could mean 10,000, 20,000, or even 400 to 500,000 people will be losing their job. Especially if you are a multinational or an international company which, belongs to the elite companies in the world, like Fortune 500, for example. Or let's say you are the owner, or probably you are the marketing manager, the strategic marketing manager, the vice president for marketing in Walmart, or probably Target Corporation, or in the Philippines, SM. One decision could literally destroy or create life of people. And so this is a very important thing. Next is, what are the approaches to product branding? Now, you have already decided about certain products, what to do and what not to do in those particular products. And so the next thing that you have to adapt is the principle of branding, because branding is a very important aspect of product management, which belongs to the marketing mix. Now, you have to brand your product in such a way that it should be beneficial and, of course, will create a positive effect on your organization or your company in general. And so branding will begin with corporate or umbrella branding. It is an approach of branding where there is no focus on the individual product. Instead, it focuses on the corporate identity as a brand, meaning that all products produced in the company bears the name and the identity of the company as a major identity of the product. Now, of course, we already know about this. This is a basic strategy in branding, and this is also a strategy of limiting and maximizing the branding expenses, the branding investment, because you only have to invest on the brand of the corporation, the identity of the corporation or the company itself. Like, let's say, for example, Microsoft. Microsoft is very good in umbrella branding. Why? Because every product of Microsoft, literally all of it, we absolutely know that is a Microsoft product. Like, let's say, for example, Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Microsoft Windows. These are the prime brands that is under the umbrella of Microsoft, the corporate umbrella of Microsoft. And so, corporate branding strategy. Next is family umbrella branding. It is an approach that focuses on the family of products and variety of markets, which does not necessarily mean it relates to the market. It could be different market, but each of the offering in every market brings with it the identity of the mother brand. Now, there are instances wherein the family umbrella, meaning that the identity of a particular brand is attached to different markets, serving different markets and providing different services or products. Like, let's say, for example, Samsung. Now, Samsung, there is a Samsung Electronics. There are Samsung Industries. We have Samsung that actually manufactures military equipments and so on and so forth. And so that is an example of family umbrella branding. Next is range branding. It is an approach of which the mother company does not alter the identity of an acquired brand, as doing so will erode the said identity. Each identity of the acquired brand has established the following, or has an established following, hence the retention of the identity, and it is the best decision. Now, let's say, for example, range branding is just like this. Now, when you acquire a particular company, you purchase a particular company, and that company has its own market following. It has its own loyal customers. Why is it that you have to change the brand? No, you don't have to change the brand itself. You just have to continue making that brand prosper in order that it will increase the brand following. Next is individual branding. Each market will have one product delivered, one identity, and does not necessarily bring with it the identity of a mother brand. It is a way of delivering single or singular brand in a particular market segment. Now that we know the approaches to branding, we have to determine what are the approaches to brand development. This is significant in making us determine what are the things that we have to do, what are the do's and the don'ts, so that we'll be able to prepare ourselves on what's to come. And so the approaches to brand development will bring us an idea on these particular things. So we have to begin with number one, the current perception of the brand amongst the customers and the trade. And so you have to determine first what are the perception of our customers. You have to do what we call as a market audit, as we discussed in the previous videos in this lecture series on strategic marketing. We have to determine the perception of our customers. And then we have to know the expectations of both the customers and the trade. We have to determine the strength, weaknesses of each brand within the product portfolio. Next is the value of each brand. Are these brands valuable? Will these particular brands potentially become the breadwinner? Or this is just another failure or another loser within the product portfolio? And so you have to take out the value of each brand. Next is the links that exist between different brands owned and the nature and significance of any overlaps and gaps. You have to determine whether or not there are overlaps and gaps within the brand. Because if there are gaps, you have to do what we call as line filling, right? Line filling. It is a strategy of which any gap within the particular segment that is not offered or that is not provided for by the organization, you have to fill that particular line in order to maximize the market segment. Now, one of the best examples of that is you are a manufacturer of diapers. And if you're a manufacturer of a diaper, there are certain segments of which certain diapers are provided for in each level of the age of a human person, from a newborn, 2 months, 3 months, 1 year to 5 years, and old age. What if you just have a small, medium, and large variation of your brand, and then there are large babies or extra large babies that needs that particular fitting? And so you have to create another line of a brand or line of a product which would fill into that particular gap of which you have to fill to maximize a particular market segment. Next is dangers of brand cannibalization. Now, the problem with brand cannibalization is having to spend so much, yet your brands are competing the same market. I have seen this one in the television, like advertising of products that belongs to the same company or the same corporation. Let's say Procter and Gamble or Unilever. Those brands are at some point overlapping and doing what kind of cannibalization. There are a lot of advertisings, a lot of marketing communication that does not make the product any different than the leading product or leading brand which also belong to the same company, which in effect it destroys or it makes the company spend more with less efficiency. And so that's a problem of brand cannibalization. Next is when and where the brand names need to be developed. When to develop and where to develop the new brand. Do you need to develop a new brand? Do you need to drop old or older brands? If you need to develop one, when will you develop? And so these are the approaches. Next is the scope that exists for licensing. Do you have the opportunity to license our brand to other companies and corporations worldwide so that they may adapt the identity that we have? Just like, for example, Coca-Cola, which is licensing their identity to different countries worldwide. Next is the opportunities for brand stretching. Brand stretching meaning you have to stretch the number of product offering within a specific market segment, bearing with it the name and the identity of that particular product. Like, let's say, for example, Coca-Cola. There is a zero sugar Coca-Cola. There is a Diet Coke. There is a regular Coke. Meaning it is the same. It's Coca-Cola, only that it has stretched the brand in such a way that it offers varied product dependent on what particular mindset the customers have. So that is brand stretching. Next is probable competitor motives. What could probably be the competitor motives or the motives of our adversary in the market? Are they willing to crush our identity? Are they willing to fight against us in the market? Or what if we are the new entrant to the market? What are the strategies adopted by our competitors? How do we adjust into that particular competing brand? The corporate expectations of the brand, something that highlights the need for a brand development plan. What are the expectations in the corporate realm? Do they demand some kind of a branding strategy that they want for our product? And so that's the reason why we have to adapt certain kind of strategies or a plan, for that matter, that would address this particular thinking and line of thought by the corporate world. And so these are the approaches to the brand development that you have to take into consideration before we will try to develop certain brands, renew or rejuvenate particular brands. Now, while it is true that branding plays a very important role in the resurrection of a product that is already dying or probably dead already in the market, there are also instances where there is no possibility that we can resurrect a product that's already dead. And so what we're going to do is we have to develop new product. So that's the reason why we have research and development department, so that we will be able to know exactly what are the products that we have to develop in order that it will fit exactly what the demands of the markets are. Booz Allen and Hamilton have 6-stage classification of the new product development. Number 1, products that are new to the world that would create entirely a new market. One of the best examples for that is when Apple introduced the new smartphone. That is a new product, and it created a new market. Market for those people who loves smartphones. That is one classification. Next is new product lines that are designated to enable the company to enter an existing product sector for the first time. It could probably be that your company wants to extend on a different sector or product sector, product market. This is just a trivia for everyone. Samsung did not start as an electronic company. It started as a market, a wet market, if I'm not mistaken. And so they venture into new sectors. They develop products to enter into different sectors. And so that's the reason why Samsung is now one of the leading brands in semiconductor and cell phone technologies. Next is additions to existing product lines. You already have a product offering. You just want to add something into your product offering. Next is improvements and revisions to existing products. Probably there are products that are, the term Jurassic would probably be the correct terminology to determine, or correct terminology to attach that particular product, because it has been the same product since 1940. And so what you're going to do is you have to improve, revise that particular product to fit on the demands of the market. Next is you have to reposition or retargeting existing products in order to appeal to new or untapped market segments. Reposition a particular product. Let's say, for example, one of the best examples of that is Volkswagen. Now, Volkswagen actually is a relatively popular brand in the Philippines. Now, what they did is they created a specific product that is targeted towards the lower spectrum of the market. And so what they did is they offered a car variation of Volkswagen that is set way low to the premium brands of cars that is offered in the market. And so by that, by lowering and repositioning a particular product, it captures a different market. And that is Volkswagen Santana, probably priced only at around 700, 800,000 pesos, or roughly around $15,000 for a brand new car. Next is cost reduction, where products are modified to provide similar performance but at a lower cost. So probably you have a product that is so expensive to produce, and you find ways so that the product will provide the same performance but at a lower cost. Next is, what are the roles of the new product development? Number one is it ensures that the product mix matches the changing environmental conditions, that product obsolescence is avoided. Make sure that your product will not be obsolete. Make sure that your product should be state of the art. Next is, it enables the organization to compete in new and developing segments of the market. It reduces the organization's dependence upon particular elements of the product range or vulnerable market segments. Match the competitive moves, where, for example, a competitor moves into a new and potential valuable segment. There is often strong arguments for following, so that the competitor's advantage is kept to a minimum. If your competitor enters into a new market that is potentially a very important and valuable market, what you're going to do is you have to rearrange your resources and follow that competitor, so that the advantage of the competitor is kept to a particular minimum level. Otherwise, your competitor will crush you in the long run. Next is filling excess capacity. You will develop new product because there is an excess capacity. Your your factory, for that instance, can operate 24 hours, 7 days a week, but you are only operating 5 days a week. And so there are still portions of the company capacity that is not filled. And so you have to maximize your capacity. Next is achieve greater long-term growth and profit. That's the purpose and role of new product development. Booz Allen and Hamilton's strategic role of the new product development. What is the strategic goal of developing new product? First, it maintains the organization's position as a product innovator. That is higher order perspective. It will make the organization feel that they are a product innovator in the eyes of the watching public. Defend a market share position in order that you will not be squeezed by competitions in a particular market segment. You have to continuously develop new product in order to maintain that particular market share. Establish a foothold in a new market sector. The company or corporation may at some point create new product in order that they can establish a specific segment of the new market. Preempt a market segment, or delivering and providing new brands in the same segment so that you can maximize a particular market segment. Exploit technology in a new way and capitalize on distribution strengths. I hope that you learned something in this discussion. This is part 1 of lesson number 2, and in the next video we will be discussing on price and promotions. Thank you for watching.